In the news this week, doctors vote to maintain opposition to assisted suicide. Teachers at all girls' schools are advised to avoid using the word girls. And a council leader in one of the pilot areas for the named person scheme calls it intrusive nonsense. Hello. Doctors have voted decisively to maintain their opposition to assisted suicide at the British Medical Association's annual meeting. Delegates voted by 198 to 115 against a motion which called for the BMA to take a neutral stance on the issue. Dignity in Dying, formerly the Voluntary Euthanasia Society, had been lobbying the BMA to change position. Steve Fouch from the Christian Medical Fellowship explains why the vote was so significant.
8th time in 13 years that the British Medical Association has thrown out a move it to a neutral stance on assisted suicide. This follows on from both Holyrood and Westminster decisively voting out bills on assisted suicide. There is no appetite in the medical profession and in the parliaments of this land to bring in assisted suicide or euthanasia.
Teachers in the Girls' Schools Association are being advised to avoid using the word girls in order to cater for transsexual pupils. In assemblies, staff are being encouraged to say pupils or students instead of girls because of children who are posing questions around their gender identity. The comments came after the association heard from the Gendered Intelligence Campaign Group. Its chairman, Jay Stewart, claimed the phrase young ladies was both sexist and transphobic. A statement on the GSA's website said, "It is up to individual schools to interpret and apply this advice when appropriate." Staff at a major chain of betting shops were told to do whatever it takes to keep gamblers spending money, a BBC investigation has learned. The probe for the Victoria Derbyshire programme also found store managers were under pressure to hit targets for the most addictive betting machines. In the investigation, a former manager explained the lengths staff went to get the gamblers to stay in the shops. He said one area manager had even suggested that if we had a customer coming in their lunch hour, we had to make sure they didn't waste time trying to get a cheese and ham roll instead of playing the machines. You could go out there, buy them a cheese and ham roll and get it ready for them. And finally, a senior council leader has spoken out strongly against the named person scheme. Alistair Rind, deputy leader of Highland Council, said the government should back off its controversial plans, due to come into force in August. Under the proposals, every child in Scotland would be assigned a named person to monitor their well-being. Highland Council was the first local authority to trial the scheme and has been held up by the Scottish Government as the benchmark for the National State Guardian rollout.
Douglas Ross, in his contribution, said that he felt the named person policy was unworkable. And I say to him that as a member for the Highlands and Islands, he doesn't have to go far to see an example of it working perfectly in practice.
But Rind has not been impressed. It's an intrusion of government into family life. The best people to look after children are their parents. A legal case against the plans is currently being considered by the UK Supreme Court. Judges will deliver their verdict in the coming weeks and have the power to put a halt to the legislation. Well, that's all for this week. For regular updates and information on all of our stories, plus much more, visit our website at christian.org.uk. Until next time, goodbye.